let's talk about Call of Duty, because they just had one of their worst years in their history very, very recently. And I don't know about you, but I don't remember the last time I was genuinely excited about a Call of Duty game, for a Call of Duty game. I absolutely love this franchise, I really do. I absolutely love the first 3 Black Ops games I really grew up playing the first 3 Black Ops games, especially the first 2. I probably would put the third one in there as well. And Modern Warfare 3, Ghosts. I mean, I played Ghosts just endlessly, playing up Extinction. I don't know how many of you guys remember the Extinction game mode from Ghosts, but I just played hundreds and hundreds of hours of Extinction specifically when I was younger. So I absolutely love this franchise. It's one of my favourite video game franchises ever. I mean, if I had to make a list of my personal top 10 favourite games of all time, I would probably have 3 or 4 CODs in there. And that's not even an exaggeration. I would probably have 3 or 4 CODs in there. But I have been quite underwhelmed with this franchise in the last few years, and I'm sure some of you guys have as well. So, Microsoft closed its $70 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard near the end of 23. Months later, Sea of Thieves and other Xbox exclusives were headed to the PS5. The multi-platform shift was inextricably linked to the Halo makers' massive overnight expansion into one of the biggest third-party publishers around. Now, as new Xbox CEO Asher Sharma signals more pain ahead as part of the platform's latest reset, it's impossible not to look at the outsized role Call of Duty might be playing in the calculus around upcoming mass layoffs. You know, the new Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma, she's done an incredible job. She really has. She's just completely turned the whole company around. I mean, I know she's still sort of in the process of turning it around, but, you know, full reset, full fresh start for the whole company, really. 2025 was a great year for new Xbox releases and Game Pass additions, but not in terms of the sales of many of those games or the growth of that subscription service. Despite a multi-platform launch, Outer Worlds 2 didn't sell enough to keep the franchise viable. The twin pillars of the Xbox business, software and services, both struggled, down 5% in the second quarter and another 5% in the third. Microsoft CFO Amy Hood blamed the most recent decline on a drop in Call of Duty sales between 2024's Black Ops 6 and 2025's Black Ops 7. Now, I'll tell you about 2 games I really was not fussed about whatsoever. Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. I was not fussed in the slightest about those games. I was not interested, not invested whatsoever in Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. I found them a bit repetitive, and that's kind of my big problem with Call of Duty, is that the franchise has become very repetitive. It's kind of turned into like FIFA in a way. Every game is almost identical, you know. every game is almost identical. You know, things change, you know, the sort of setting changes. Obviously we get new campaigns, you know, that sort of thing. They're different in those in those sort of areas. Gameplay wise, they're all practically identical these days, and you know what, it's like, I don't think we need any more Call of Duty games set during World War II or Vietnam. And I don't think we need any more like games set in the future either. They keep making games set in the future. They keep doing that. They've done it like 5 times at this point. At least 5 times they've made games set in the future. I don't know why they do it. I don't like it. That's not true. That's not true. Because, you know what, Black Ops 3 is obviously, that is set in the future. I love Black Ops 3, and I did very much enjoy the campaign for Advanced... Was it Advanced Warfare, or was it Infinite Warfare? No, it was Advanced Warfare. I enjoyed that campaign a lot. That might be controversial take, but I did. We already knew that the most recent entry up against stiff multiplayer competition with Ark Raiders and Battlefield 6 didn't perform great at launch. It was the first entry in years not to arrive with a post-release weekend press release praising how much money it had made, or even how many players had logged on. More recently, the game didn't even chart in the top 10 best-selling games for the US in April. In April 2025, Black Ops 6 was number 7. It was the 5th best-selling game year to date. At the time, Black Ops 7 was only 7th in April 2026. That's not a complete disaster by any stretch, but it puts into context Activision's recent marketing push to pressure fans that this year's Modern Warfare 4 is getting things back on track. Now, I am quite interested in Modern Warfare 4, purely on premise. The fact that it's set, it's essentially going to be set in Korea, and it's going to be a war between the North and the South. So like the North attack the South, and then that sparks a full-on civil war, a hot war between North and South Korea, and I think it probably will be set sort of slightly in the future, like 10-15 years in the future, something like that. So not a crazy not a crazy timeline jump, but that is something I am quite interested in. That could be a very interesting game if executed well. That could be a very interesting game. A report by Windows Central claims Microsoft had been relying on the profits from Activision Blizzard to help subsidize the rest of Xbox game studios. One bad year makes them extra vulnerable to increased accounting scrutiny and potential cuts. The fact that adding Call of Duty to Game Pass clearly backfired may have only compounded that potential issue. Microsoft raised the price of Game Pass to $30 to compensate for the day one inclusion of Black Ops 7. Not only did that entry not get tons of new players to sign up, it also spurred a dramatic uptick in subscriber churn across the platform. We shed millions of subscribers over the span of a few months, newly appointed Xbox chief strategist Matthew Ball recently said. To reverse the trend, new Call of Duty entries are no longer part of Game Pass at launch, and the price has been reduced, though it's still higher than it was a year ago. Growth slowed down and subscriber loss accelerated after the pricing and SKU changes last year. Sharma said in a memo to staff last month, since our price reduction, we have seen acquisitions grow and retention improve, which is a good first step. We'll have to wait and see how Modern Warfare 4 shakes out later this year. Will it be a return to form that beats Black Ops 7's 5th place ranking in the US last year, or another sequel that stumbles at a time of increased competition, including GTA 6 in November? Yeah, I think the delay for GTA 6, because obviously it was set for May, and now it's been moved to November. But this game, GTA 6, in general, regardless of the delay, that has definitely influenced the scheduling for many studios. Many studios have made their schedules, their release schedules, around GTA 6. They are releasing their titles around GTA 6 because they don't want to get absolutely just crushed, just demolished. So they are being careful when they put their games out. The void left by poor Call of Duty sales would be enough to swallow entire games from the smaller end of the Xbox portfolio. The ripples from its wake are like a sailboat being passed by a cruise liner. Call of Duty is too big to slip, let alone fail. What might be cannibalized in the race to prioritise and stabilise it? We are the fortunate stewards of industry-defining franchises that have enormous potential and player demand, but we have not adequately funded them to compete and win, Sharma wrote in one of her bleaker memos to staff this week. At the same time, as we saw this past weekend at Showcase, a reliable pipeline of first and third party exclusives and new IP are critical to our success. We need to reassess the balance between these and our investment priorities for the next 5 years. I reckon Modern Warfare 4 could get the franchise back on track. They've had they've had a few underwhelming games in a row over the last few years. But I reckon Modern Warfare 4 could get this whole thing back on track, as long as they don't fuck it up, which I know is easier said than done for a modern day entertainment company, but that's the truth. I think they could. I think this game could. This game could get everything back on track if it's executed properly, pulled off properly. They just need to do something different. They need to take some more risks, you know? They need to take some more risks. COD used to be a very sort of edgy franchise that really pushed the limits of what you could put in games, and they just don't do that anymore. They're very boring and generic, and they all feel the same. All of the COD games from the last 5-ish years they've all just felt the same as each other. So they need to take more risks, is what they need to do. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover for today. So see you later.